Yeah, he had a great run, and it's fun to watch. I think I watched Indiana State and Iowa. Caitlin Clark play about the same last year, so I was watching a lot of basketball.
In a stunning twist, Larry Bird is back in the game, this time as the new head coach of the Indiana Fever. That's right, the Celtics legend and Hall of Famer is stepping out of NBA history and straight into the WNBA spotlight. The announcement has fans buzzing, and the basketball world is scrambling for answers. Why now? Could this be the start of a major shift in women's basketball? And what do Fever players think about sharing the court with one of the game's greatest minds? One thing certain, Bird's return isn't just news. It's a turning point that could redefine the future of the sport. The arena doors eased open like any ordinary moment, but what followed was anything but routine. A hush swept through the space as a familiar figure stepped inside, one so legendary that the atmosphere shifted instantly. It wasn't a rising star or a celebrity agent. It was Larry Bird, Indiana's own basketball icon. The Hall of Famer who built his name as a player, a coach, and a front office architect now stood calmly in front of stunned faces, commanding the room without saying a word. Shock rippled through the crowd. Phones shot up, cameras clicked non-stop, and whispers spread like wildfire. For years, Bird had chosen distance from the grind of basketball life, allowing his legacy to speak for itself. He wasn't forgotten, legends never are, but he had become part of history more than the present. Until today, the energy shifted. Instantly, speculation exploded both inside the arena and online. Was Larry Bird stepping back into coaching? And not just anywhere, but in the WNBA, the thought seemed impossible just hours earlier. Now it was the only thing fans and insiders could talk about. If true, this wouldn't simply be another headline, it would be a seismic shift in basketball history. Bird has nothing left to chase. His legacy is already carved in stone: 3 NBA titles as a player, multiple Coach and Executive of the Year awards, and a reputation as one of the sharpest minds the sport has ever known. So the question is, why now, and why here? That's what makes this return so intriguing. If Bird is stepping back into the spotlight, it's not for trophies or headlines. It has to be for something larger. The ripple effect could be enormous. The Indiana Fever, stacked with young stars, would instantly become the center of basketball's attention. But this goes far beyond one roster. If Larry Bird truly takes the reins of a WNBA team, it could mark a turning point where the gap between men's and women's basketball doesn't just shrink, it disappears. His presence would inject decades of championship experience, a no-nonsense mindset, and the kind of leadership that can shift an entire culture. It would be more than a hire, it would be a merging of basketball's storied past with its rapidly growing future. A balance of grit and grace. Old school toughness meeting new school flair. Larry Bird changed the game in more ways than one. His clever use of the three-point shot, a weapon that defines basketball today, was years ahead of its time. Bird wasn't the fastest or strongest player on the court, but he out opponents with razor-sharp instincts, relentless competitiveness, and deadly shooting accuracy. He played with a confidence and edge that often rattled even the toughest defenders. By 1992, his greatness was undeniable. Bird was selected for the original Dream Team, the first U.S. Olympic squad to feature NBA players. That group dominated the Barcelona games, won gold with ease, and is still hailed as the greatest basketball team ever assembled. His legacy grew even further when he was enshrined in the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame, twice, first as an individual in 1998, and later in 2010 as part of the Dream Team. When his playing days ended, Bird didn't walk away from the sport. Instead, he shifted into coaching and leadership. In 1997, he became head coach of the Indiana Pacers, winning NBA Coach of the Year in his very first season and leading the team to the finals by 2000. Later, as the Pacers' president of basketball operations, he added another milestone by earning the NBA Executive of the Year award in 2012. Bird continued guiding the Pacers in various roles until 2022, only to make a surprise return in 2023 as a consultant. His career has always been about more than just titles. It's about vision, discipline, and staying rooted in who he is. From the backroads of French Lick to the biggest arenas in the world, Bird proved that greatness doesn't come from flash. It comes from grit, focus, and a refusal to quit. So what could draw him back again? The answer may lie in Indiana's newest star. If anything is powerful enough to pull Larry Bird back to the sidelines, it's the electric rise of Caitlin Clark. In 2024, the rookie didn't just create buzz, unleashed a storm, turning Indiana into the epicenter of women's basketball. Caitlin Clark's numbers were staggering: 19.2 points, 8.4 rebounds, and 5.7 assists per game. But her impact went far beyond the stat sheet. Clark didn't just play basketball, she reignited it. With her in the lineup, the Indiana Fever didn't just start winning, again they rediscovered their identity. A team that hadn't reached the playoffs since 2016 suddenly broke through, and with it came an energy that transformed the franchise. Home crowds swelled to over 17,000 fans. TV ratings regularly cracked a million mark, and every game felt like an event. Clark wasn't just an athlete, she was a movement. From buzzer-beating threes to no-look passes that left defenses scrambling, her game carried an electricity that made people believe something historic was always within reach. But the bigger story may be what her rise could inspire. Whispers are growing louder. Could Larry Bird return to the sidelines, tempted by the chance to shape greatness one more time? Bird, known for his discipline, fundamentals, and no-nonsense philosophy, paired with Clark's fearless creativity and flair, would be a collision of era's old-school precision meeting new school fire. Analysts can't help but imagine it. What if Bird built around Clark's brilliance? Could the Fever not only return to championship form, but create a dynasty? And Clark might not be the only star in the equation. Sophie Cunningham's name has surfaced as a possible piece of this puzzle. The Phoenix Mercury guard is known for her scrappy defense, accurate three-point shooting, and relentless hustle. Her blue-collar style could be the perfect balance to Clark's explosive playmaking together. Under Bird's guidance, Clark and Cunningham could form something the WNBA has never seen before, a team that blends Showtime flair with structured excellence, grit with grace. It wouldn't just be a roster, it would be a revolution in motion. Indiana Fever aren't just chasing a playoff spot anymore, they're staring at the possibility of becoming a true powerhouse. The vision is daring, the talent is undeniable, and the excitement is spreading fast. What once seemed far-fetched, Larry Bird coaching comeback now feels like a real possibility. And it all traces back to one rookie. Caitlin Clark didn't just breathe life into a struggling franchise, she may have sparked the return of a legend, setting the stage for a WNBA storyline nobody predicted. But everyone will be watching. That raises an important question. Beyond his Hall of Fame playing career, what kind of coaching experience does Larry Bird actually bring? And what's his track record in Indiana? The answer takes us back to 1997. When Bird shocked the basketball world by accepting the head coaching job with the Indiana Pacers despite never having coached before. Many doubted him, assuming his Celtics glory days wouldn't translate. From the court to the clipboard, Bird silenced that skepticism immediately. From the start, he was clear. He'd only coached for 3 years. But those 3 years were unforgettable. In his very first season, 1997-98, Bird turned the Pacers into a powerhouse. The team finished with a 58-24 record, the best in franchise history at the time. His impact was instant, his leadership undeniable, and his presence impossible to ignore. Under Bird's leadership, the Pacers quickly became contenders. In 1998, they came within a single step of the NBA Finals, taking Michael Jordan's Chicago Bulls and Phil Jackson's dynasty to a dramatic 7-game Eastern Conference showdown. Though the Pacers fell just short, the run cemented Bird's reputation on the sidelines, and he was named NBA Coach of the Year in his very first season. The success continued. Bird guided Indiana to back-to-back Central Division titles in 2000, and in the 2000 playoffs, the Pacers finally broke through to the NBA Finals. There, they faced the powerhouse Los Angeles Lakers, led once again by Phil Jackson and anchored by Shaquille O'Neal and Kobe Bryant. Indiana lost in 6 games, but the achievement was still hailed as a triumph. True to his word, Bird stepped down after his 3rd season, handing the reins to Isaiah Thomas. But his connection to the franchise was far from over. In 2003, Bird returned as the Pacers' president of basketball operations. His first major decision was replacing Thomas with Rick Carlisle, signaling a new direction. Running a small market team meant Bird had to be strategic. He relied on savvy draft choices, smart trades, and a focus on player development rather than chasing high-priced free agents. That vision paid off in the 2011-12 season, when the Pacers finished 42-24 and secured the No. 3 seed in the Eastern Conference. For his leadership and sharp roster management, Bird was honored as NBA Executive of the Year, making him the only person in league history to earn MVP, Coach of the Year, and Executive of the Year. Bird briefly stepped away in 2012 due to health concerns but returned the following year to resume his role. He remained at the helm until 2017, when he transitioned into an advisory position. Even then, his influence lingered. In 2022, Bird quietly stepped back, only to re-emerge once again. In June 2023, when the Pacers brought him back as a consultant, the doors of the arena opened quietly, almost unnoticed. But what followed shook the entire building. Walking in with calm composure was a figure so iconic that the room froze in disbelief. It wasn't a new rookie or a headline-grabbing agent, it was Larry Bird, Indiana's own legend, a Hall of Famer, a 3-time NBA champion, and one of the greatest basketball minds ever. Bird, known as the Hick from French Lick, dominated the game as a player, a coach, and an executive. And now, after years away from the spotlight, he has officially been named the new head coach of the Indiana Fever. The announcement sent shockwaves across the basketball world. Fans erupted, cameras flashed, and social media exploded with reactions. For decades, Bird has been a symbol of basketball's golden era. But no one expected him to step back into coaching, let alone in the WNBA. So why now? Why here? Larry Bird doesn't need more trophies or headlines. His legacy is already carved in stone. 3 championships as a player, 12 All-Star appearances, 3 straight MVP awards from 1984 to 1986, Coach of the Year in 1998, Executive of the Year in 2012. Bird is the only person in NBA history to win all 3 honors. Simply put, he has nothing left to prove. And yet, this move feels bigger than personal glory. By taking over the Indiana Fever, Bird isn't chasing fame. He's aiming to help reshape the future of basketball itself. The Fever already have one of the brightest young stars in the game, Caitlin Clark. Her arrival in 2024 transformed not just the franchise, but the entire league, averaging nearly 20 points, 8 rebounds, and 6 assists per game. Clark turned the Fever into a playoff contender for the first time since 2016, but her impact wasn't limited to the stat sheet. Attendance skyrocketed, with over 17,000 fans filling the arena on a regular basis. Television ratings crossed the million mark on multiple nights, and every time she stepped on the floor, there was electricity in the air. Clark became a movement, a cultural force, the spark that reignited women's basketball in Indiana, and, perhaps, she's the reason Larry Bird is back. Bird's coaching style has always been built on discipline, fundamentals,